I want you to remember the last time you felt like a ghost in your own relationship. You were sitting across from her, or perhaps looking at a screen, waiting for a reply that you knew wasn't coming, and you felt that sickening realization that your presence had become optional. I've been there. I remember standing in a kitchen, mid-sentence, realizing the woman I was talking to hadn't heard a word I said because she was busy scrolling through a feed of strangers. It is a quiet, sharp pain. The realization that the person who is supposed to be your partner has mentally checked out while you are still standing right in front of them. You feel the temperature in the room drop. Not because the air is cold, but because the warmth of respect has been sucked out of the space. I did what every low-value version of a man does in that moment. I spoke louder. I tried to be funnier. I tried to perform, hoping that if I just hit the right note, I could reclaim her attention. I tried to remind her of my value, bringing up past wins and future plans. And in that moment, I saw it in her eyes, a flicker of pity. That pity was the sound of my respect hitting the floor and shattering into 1,000 pieces. I looked like a servant begging for a tip, and she looked like a queen who was bored with the service. That was the night I realized that the body knows the truth before the mouth does. Attraction isn't a choice. It's a biological response to power, scarcity, and boundaries. If she doesn't value you, it is not because you aren't a good man. It is because you have become a constant, low-stakes background noise in her life. You are like the wallpaper in a room, reliable, always there, and eventually completely invisible. You have no mystery because you are always available. You have no authority because you have no limits. Today, we stop the begging and the performing. We are moving away from the desperate nice guy scripts and entering a cold, tactical reconstruction of your identity. We are going to use the sovereign architecture, a rigorous protocol designed to starve her ego of the validation it craves and rebuild your kingdom from the shadows where no one can touch your peace. This isn't about games. It's about the fundamental laws of human psychology. It is about realizing that your presence is a privilege, and the second it is treated as an obligation, it must be revoked.
The first stage of this protocol is the tactical withdrawal. Most men think that walking away is a dramatic event filled with shouting and grand gestures. They think it requires a long speech or a final emotional argument where they finally explain all the ways they have been hurt. This is a fatal mistake. Arguments are oxygen for her ego. When you argue, you are telling her that her opinion of you matters so much that you are willing to burn your precious time and energy to change it. You are literally donating your life force to her vanity. You are proving that she still controls the emotional climate of your life. The tactical withdrawal is silent, surgical, and absolute. It is the immediate physical removal of your presence the second disrespect is served at the table. If she is on her phone while you are talking, you don't ask for her attention. You don't get angry. You simply stand up and leave the room. If she cancels a plan with a weak, disrespectful excuse, you don't tell her it's okay, and you certainly don't ask when she's free next. You simply say okay, and then you vanish from her digital and physical world. You aren't running away. You are repositioning your forces to a higher ground. You are teaching her biology that your time is a high-cost asset that can be revoked without warning. When you withdraw, you create a sudden drop in pressure. The space you used to fill is now empty, and for the first time in a long time, she is forced to feel the weight of your absence. Respect is not something you negotiate with words. It is something you enforce with your feet. This leads us into the second stage, the mirror of the void. Have you ever noticed that the loudest person in the room is often the most insecure? It's because noise is a defense mechanism we use to hide our internal chaos. We talk to fill the gaps because we are terrified of what the silence will reveal about us. When you go silent after being devalued, You are creating a psychological abyss that her ego cannot cross.
Her ego is used to your predictable reactions. It is used to you checking in, asking what's wrong, or trying to fix the vibe when things get tense. It feeds on your pursuit. When you provide the void instead of the noise, she's forced to sit with her own behavior without any distractions. Without your servant energy to hide behind, she has to look at the reflection of her own toxicity. This is a biological trigger rooted deep in the human brain. In the absence of information, the mind begins to create its own narratives, and those narratives are almost always driven by anxiety. She will begin to wonder if she pushed too far. She will wonder if you finally realized you are too good for the treatment she's giving you. She will wonder if there is someone else. You are not being petty, you are being a landmark. A landmark doesn't move to be seen, it doesn't shout to be noticed, it just stays put, grounded in its own reality. Eventually, the people who are lost in their own confusion will come looking for the landmark to find their way home. Your silence is the loudest argument you have ever made. The third stage is the construction of the iron citadel. Most men have leaky boundaries that let every minor insult or mood swing from a woman flood their internal peace. They say they won't tolerate disrespect, but then they stay for one more chance, or they accept a half-hearted apology just to end the tension. This is how you train someone to ignore you. You are teaching them that your boundaries are made of paper. You must build a mental wall where her moods, tests, and passive-aggressive comments cannot land. Imagine your mind is a fortress with deep foundations. If she brings drama, or if she tries to devalue you with a cold shoulder, she is merely throwing pebbles at a stone wall. If you react, if you get angry, defensive, or sad, you are letting the pebble inside the gates. You are giving her the power to change your state. If you remain calm, objective, and completely unmoved, the pebble just bounces off and rolls away. You don't control your emotions by suppressing them. You simply refuse to host them. You observe her behavior like a scientist observing a storm from inside a reinforced bunker. When she realizes that her behavior no longer has the power to ruin your day, dictate your schedule, or change your mood, her ego begins to fracture. She realizes that she is no longer the commander of your world. You have become the iron citadel, a structure that exists for its own purpose, independent of who decides to visit or who decides to leave.
The fourth stage is the most brutal for the modern ego: information starvation. We live in an age of digital oversharing where attention is the new currency. Most men stay visible because they are terrified of being forgotten. They post stories, they update their status, they stay active on the apps just to signal to her that they are still alive and still waiting. This is the behavior of a ghost haunting a house, hoping someone notices a cold spot in the hallway. You will do the opposite. You will go dark. You stop the leaks. You stop posting for her to see. And more importantly, you stop looking at what she is doing. This is the ghost protocol. When you remove the data, her imagination has to fill in the blanks. And the imagination is always more terrifying than reality. If she doesn't know where you are, who you are with, or why you are so quiet, her ego starts to lose its grip. She goes from being the prize who is being chased to being the one who is out of the loop. You are starving her of the validation she used to get just by knowing you were in the background waiting for her call. This information blackout creates a power shift that she cannot ignore. You're no longer a profile she can check, you are a mystery she can no longer solve. You are taking back the most valuable thing you own, your attention. While she is starving for information, you move into the fifth stage, the pivot of indifference. This is where most men fail the protocol. They do the first 4 steps as a clever trick to get her back. They are still checking their phone every 5 minutes, hoping the silence is working. If you are doing this to get a reaction, you are still her servant. You are just a servant who is hiding. The pivot of indifference is the moment you genuinely stop caring about the outcome. You start building your life, your physical strength, your bank account, your mission, with such focus and intensity that you actually forget to check if she's noticed. This isn't revenge success. This is sovereign success. Revenge is a bond. It keeps you tied to her because you want her to see you win. You are still performing for an audience of one. Indifference is true freedom. It is reaching a level of personal excellence where you are so deep into your own empire that her opinion of you feels like a distant memory from a different life. It is like looking at a childhood toy that you once loved, but have now completely outgrown. When a woman senses that a man has truly disconnected, that he is gone and he isn't coming back to check the mirror for a reaction, that is when her ego truly breaks. The power dynamic isn't just shifted, it is destroyed. You aren't winning a game, you've left the stadium entirely. The final stage is the death of the servant. We have to be honest here, man to man. The reason she didn't value you is because a part of you didn't value yourself. You were addicted to her approval. You were a servant looking for a master, and she obliged by treating you like one. You traded your dignity for a few scraps of her attention. The Ghost Protocol and the Iron Citadel aren't just tools to handle her. They are rituals to kill that weak version of you. The version of you that was willing to sit in a kitchen and be ignored while she scrolled through her phone. The version of you that was afraid of the silence. When that servant dies, a king is born. A king doesn't ask for respect. His very presence demands it. He is the embodiment of self-worth. He doesn't wonder if he is valued. He knows he is the most valuable thing in any room he walks into because he is the only one who doesn't need anyone else's permission to exist. He is the landmark. He is the one who sets the frequency of the relationship. He knows that his attention is a limited, high-value currency that is only spent on those who have earned it. He is no longer an option. He is the standard. I want you to look at your life right now. Look at the people who are treating your time like it's a free sample at a grocery store. Look at the connections where you are doing all the heavy lifting while they sit back and evaluate your performance. It's time to close the shop. It's time to enter the Ghost Protocol. This isn't a game for children. It's a biological necessity for a man who wants to live with his head held high. You've spent enough time as a beggar at a table that doesn't serve you. It is time to walk away and build your own feast. The throne in your own life has been empty for too long because you were too busy sitting at her feet, waiting for a scrap of validation. Stand up, walk away. Don't look back for a reaction. Build the citadel, be the landmark.